All right, y'all. So the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks. Very, very, very interesting team thus far this season. Um, it's yours truly, Crisco Fontaine, aka Coach Crisco, by the way. The Bucks are off to a 4-8 start. Now, on paper, none of it makes sense. You got Giannis, you got Dame, you got some good role players around, two future Hall of Famers. Why is it not clicking? And you can go back to last season when Dame first got there. On paper, there's no way this team doesn't get to the finals. There's no way that this team is not contending for a championship. Now, in the playoffs, we've seen how that worked out last year. Giannis got hurt. Dame, I think he did. He got hurt in the series. So, it happens. But thus far this season, they haven't looked like a team that is going to be top 3, top 4 in the East and contending for Eastern Conference championship, let alone an NBA championship. It's going to maybe dethrone Boston. They hadn't looked that way. You can't really put them in the same box as Philly because Philly haven't been healthy. They haven't had Embiid for most of the season. He played one game, I think, so far. And PG is new. He has to be acclimated. Now Maxey is out, so you can't compare them to Philly. But yet both of those teams, both Milwaukee and Philly, sit at the bottom of the East. But Milwaukee is 90-something% healthy. So why are they not clicking? Why are they not gelling? Okay, there's a few things as I roll this clip or this piece of tape of Giannis the last game as we see it right now as for the filming of this video. The Milwaukee Bucks are 4-8. They just played the Detroit Pistons, who are playing great basketball right now, mind you. They barely escaped, won in overtime. Giannis had 59 points, I think. So, looking at this, there's no way. Why is this team not able to win games consistently? With Giannis doing this, I mean, he's coming downhill. You can't stop that. What are you doing? And then when you add Dame on top of this, why are they not winning? Well, I tell you why I think they're not winning. When you have two All-Stars, you have two superstars, you have to now solidify an identity. These are not like two All-Stars or two superstars that they came in together. Notice that he's doing all this. Dame is out. He's hurt or whatever reason he was out. He didn't play this game. So he's doing this with no Dame. So this is basically Giannis in Giannis form. When he's out there, he's the man. Even when Chris Middleton is out there, he's still, look at the score. If you look at the score, they're losing. So I mean, he's needing every one of these points. They went to overtime. He scored 59 points in an overtime win. So they needed all of these points. But there's no Dame. So he's just out there. The court is all his. The spacing is for him. When Dame is on the court, I don't think they really understand the spacing needed for Dame to do what he needs to do. And even when Dame is on the court, Dame plays better when Giannis is off the floor. They both play better when the other is off the floor. So to me, that's a spacing. That comes with understanding each other's game. And I got a highlight that I saw of Dame, and I'm just interested to watch the highlight. It's a game a few weeks ago that he played against, I forgot the team that got pulled up though. But I mean, you just look at all this. Look at how the spacing. Look at all that. They out of the way. It's like, I don't know what the technical play call is, but it's like, get out the way, let Giannis do his thing. When Dame is out there, the contrast in styles, they butt heads. So there's no identity with Dame and Giannis. There's no identity. These two guys, they don't know how to play with each other. On top of that, I honestly feel as when teams sacrifice one side of the ball for the other side of the ball, I think that's more detriment than beneficial. So they went out and got Dame via trade, right? They traded their, let's keep it a buck, their best defender in Drew Holiday for Dame, in a sense. So when you sacrifice the defensive side of the ball for the offensive side of the ball, what's the trade-off? Yeah, sure, you can score more points because you're getting more offense in. But you are now, as a result of you trading away your defense or one of your defensive anchors, you're giving up more points. So now, of course, you have to score more points to make up for the points that you're now going to give up on the other side of the ball because you don't have the defense that you had prior to. So you have to take that into accountability. And then you're bringing in a completely different offensive identity. So in order for Giannis to work, he needs the ball. When Dame does not have the ball in his hands, he's a non-factor. He's Dame Lillard. This is why Giannis and Steph Curry are my two favorite players to watch. This is why I feel like, Giannis needs to just go ahead and mosey his way on to the Bay and team up with Steph, because those two players would mesh together, because Steph without the ball is just as dangerous as he is with the ball. When Dame doesn't have the ball in his hands, it's like he might as well not even be out there. You're not worried about Dame off the ball. You're not worried about him off the ball. He's not. He's a non-factor off the ball. And in a sense, when Giannis doesn't have the ball, it's the same. It's kind of the same thing. So when you got him, you got Dame, another guy that you put out there, and you think, okay, Dame, you can't stop these two guys. Like, how are they not winning? It's because the contrast in their styles. They're different, but at the same time, they're both ball dominant. And when the other doesn't have the ball, they're not a threat. You're not really thinking that Dame is gonna, when he's off the ball, he's gonna slip back door. You're gonna hit him with the cut. You don't have to worry about any of that. You don't have to worry about him coming over around the elbow, catching the ball off high screen, or just dribble handoff. They're not doing any of that, and they don't know how. It seemed like it should be easy for Dame and Giannis to just do a 1-4 pick and roll, or pick and pop if Giannis is hitting jump shots, and just play off of each other. But they can't do that. They don't have the ability to do that. And they got a coach that I feel is probably the most overrated coach in the history of the NBA. But I digress. All right, so now with Dame, and this is against Philly. So this was the first game of the season. So I thought it was against the Bulls for whatever reason. I had this queued up. But so with Dame, he needs the ball in his hands to be Dame Lillard. Like, he can't be Dame without the ball in his hands. Like, again, when I compare the great point guards of in the kind of that same frame. Now you got the younger Lukas, the SGAs, and the Jalen Brunsons, those guys. But Dame, Steph, Russ, and within that, I guess, that era, Dame and Steph, that was always like, okay, who's better? Dame is closest to Steph, when it comes to he can shoot, he can do this, whatever. One thing that Steph has over Dame is how dangerous Steph is off the ball. So when Dame doesn't have the ball in his hands, he's just another player out there. But in this instance, you have Dame and Giannis look like it's going to be a high screen and roll. Why don't they do this more? Now, Dame keeps it, hits a hell of a shot. But that's how they should play. Incorporate the two stars together more times than not. Now, again, Dame is about to cook. If you see on the court, there's no Giannis. So this is just Dame. This is just what he do. He can't do that without the ball, though. Like, he's not a danger unless he has the ball in his hand. He needs the ball in his hand. You're not worried about him when he doesn't have the ball. Again, no Giannis on the court. See, so they kind of play the same in a sense. Again, no Giannis on the court. So one way that you can potentially make them work is, of course, you're going to start both of these guys because they're stars, right? But maybe throughout the course of the game, now Giannis is out there. But again, see, he just put his head down, get to the basket. There's no real structure to the offense, right? Giannis is out there now, but he's just that's not really any play, that's drawn up. That's just Dame doing what Dame do. You don't necessarily have to draw up plays for guys like Dame or Giannis. These are just two basketball players. You give them the ball, they gonna do what they do. He's shooting from 30 feet out. You don't draw up a play for that. So what they could do, in a sense, Doc, is you're gonna start these guys, yes, and you starting them, together. You kind of have to have a little bit of structure, but maybe work the rotation out. Look at this. Just screen, boom, 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 wide open shot. That's Dame. Just let him do what he do, right? But again, there's no Giannis on the court, so he just doing what he do. Let him do what he do, right? Just let him do what he do. But what the rotation should be is maybe stagger the rotations. You got two number ones. They got two number ones here. Two number ones that Dame is still kind of somewhat in his prime. It kind of can be, what Philly is going to be if they get their guys back healthy. If Embiid, if PG is healthy, and even Maxey, that can potentially be a number one in the future. Maybe not quite right now, but you got guys that you don't necessarily have to have them both on the court at the same time. It's kind of like when Golden State got KD. You had two number ones. Because I don't necessarily I've never really classified Clay as a number one. Right? He can get hot, he can get on a heater. But when they had Steph and KD, you had two number ones, and they would kind of stagger their rotations. So a lot of the times, they started together and they ended the games together. But a lot of the times, more times than not throughout the game, Steph would be on the floor with Draymond, and Clay would be on the floor with KD, and they kind of staggered it, that way. That's what they're going to have to do here. And they get Chris Middleton back and they get completely healthy, and if they can stay healthy, you're going to start these guys together, of course. But maybe stagger the rotations so that Giannis is out there on the floor and he can cook and do his thing, and Lillard can get his rest, and then put Dame in there, take Giannis out, let him get his rest, and you got another number one guy out there that can cook and do his thing, so that they're not out there, basically, they're not out there putting each other's fire out. They're not putting each other's flames out. Because I think when you put those two guys out there together, they both need the ball. They're the ball dominant guys. They both need the ball to do what they're going to do. It kind of diminishes what you have with these two pieces. And I think that they would be a better team as a result of them just being able to get out there individually with the pieces that they have around them. And they can be successful. And when with Chris Middleton, he's the X factor. You can put him out there with either one of those guys. We've already seen Middleton with Giannis and how effective they can be. I think you can do the same, put him out there with Lillard, and they can still cook and do their thing. But missing Drew Holiday on the defensive side, it does hurt them. I think they're feeling that more than anything else. But just maybe staggering the rotations, Coach Rivers, and just letting these guys cook individually, because when they're both out there together, when one has the ball, the other one is pretty much obsolete. I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Let me know what you think about the Milwaukee Bucks thus far this season in the comments. If you think they can turn it around, of course, it's still early on in the season. Anything can happen. 12 games deep, so you can't really put a definitive take on it. But they got to do something, because after about 20 games, you start kind of seeing teams settle into what they're going to be for the season. So we're hovering around that point. They're not completely healthy yet, but we're getting a bit of an identity. I think the coaching is a little, suspect too, but that's neither here nor there. They're paying 3 coaches, so what can they do? But let me know what you think about the Milwaukee Bucks thus far in the comments below. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe on your way out. I appreciate you for watching. See you on the next one.